Thank you all for joining Bike to the Beach's 2020 Socially Distanced Ride. My name is Robbie Walsh, and I'm the Executive Director of Bike to the Beach. And the goal of this presentation is just to walk you through a few of the items that you need to be taking care of this week as we prepare for the event, and a few things to be aware of as far as safety protocols and regulations as we approach Ride Day. "2020 will be a ride like no other. We're committed to putting on an amazing event, but of course this year will be very different. We as an organization are up for the challenge. We've already hosted 2 successfully socially distanced rides in DC and New England, and we're confident in the event that we have planned for New York. This year's event will take creativity from our staff as we create new protocols, diligence from our volunteers in that execution of them, and flexibility from our participants as they realize that different items from this year may be different compared to years past, and working with each other to ensure each other's safety. Throughout the whole event, we're focused on maximizing social distancing, sterilization, and living within new safety protocols. Our mission and goal for the event is to build more efficient networks of support for individuals with autism and disabilities. We do that through collaborative partnerships that fund local initiatives, shape national and state legislation, and develop inclusive communities. We're incredibly grateful for all of our local partners in New York and the inspiring programming that they've had as they adapt to the COVID-19 crisis and look at reemergence and new plans for new services for the autism and disabilities community. We're incredibly proud to be a part of their solution and their funding, and to be able to do so as we typically do through events that are challenging, fun, and impactful. As we approach this year's ride, it's critical to answer the question why we are riding. First and foremost, we are confident that we can put on a safe event. As I mentioned, we have already done so in Washington, D.C. and New England. And our safety protocols have been approved by our medical partners, Moto Medics, as we look to put on a safe, sterile, and top-rate event. There's also a need for the event. Our nonprofit partners need the funding that the event provides. As they look to adapt services and to continue to provide remarkable options to help every individual live into their potential, they're hitting funding strains as fundraising events were canceled in the spring and summer months. And finally, our community is interested in the event. Our community thrives on a challenge, on coming together for a shared cause and optimistically building a better future. As I mentioned, we are taking a number of safety protocols for this year's event, with a focus on maximizing social distancing, safety, and sterilization. We will definitely have mask required locations. For the event, the mindset will be anytime that you are off your bike, your mask should be on. So whether you're at the starting line, at a water station, or finish line, if you are not eating or drinking in that moment, we ask that you please have your mask on. We also ask that you be very purposeful with groups and asking consent, both as you're cycling on the roadway and as you're at rest stops. Don't assume that other individuals are comfortable biking around each other or that they're looking to form a small group or peloton. Anytime that you are looking at passing somebody, ensure that you're passing them in an area where you're confident that you can get 20 to 50 yards ahead of them before slowing down. Don't pass and sit right in front of another rider. As a further safety option, we're also offering an expanded and more robust virtual event option. You can sign up to do a 150 or 25-mile ride, and you can connect Strava, an app that GPS tracks the miles that you're riding, to your portal so that you can ride your way up the leaderboard and see your miles convert through the portal and compare them to the other members of the Bike to the Beach community. We also have different ways that you can be an advocate, so that even if you're not wearing your jersey with us on Ride Day to raise awareness, you can share videos, emails, and posts that help be an advocate and grow our community. And finally, you can always engage with our community, being a part of our Facebook group, sharing why you're riding, and sharing that finish line photo on Facebook or Instagram as you complete your mileage goal in the virtual option. For all of our participants, virtual or with us on Ride Day, this Wednesday is a very important date. We need all of our participants to opt into the event day and have their packet mailed if they are intending to join us. That means even if you are registered for the event, we're asking you to go online and select your starting time in your portal and to have your packet mailed to you. This will help us give a much more exact ride day count, which is very important this year, as a number of our participants signed up before the COVID-19 crisis, and a number of people's plans change as the event date changed from June 5th to September 26th. If you are not opted in by Wednesday, you will be moved to the virtual rider for the event and not be planned or accounted for on ride day. Also this Wednesday, rider numbers are set. If you're a top 10 fundraiser, you'll get a top 10 number. So push yourself and see if you can be number one on ride day and on the road in that top 10 or in the top 25. And finally, registration is closing. Because as we work with many municipalities and as we ensure those final safety protocols with our medical partners, we need to make sure we have an exact count and that we limit the number of participants. Registration is closing this Wednesday as we fill out those final 25 spots that we had available. So all riders, please go online and make sure that you're opted into the event day by selecting your starting time and selecting to have your packet mailed. If you have questions about how to make those selections, go and log into your portal, go into the settings tab, and click into your account. Once you're in your account, you'll see that they have options on the ride about how you'd like to ride or defer, where you'd like to have your starting line, and what starting times you prefer. Make sure that you opt into the correct selections for how you'd like to experience ride day, and make sure that you have the correct address for where you'd like to have your packet mailed. First step is packet pickup. As I mentioned, there will be no in-person packet pickup this year. That is to maximize social distancing and the needed interactions throughout the event. You must select to have your packet mailed by this Wednesday, the 16th. To confirm your spot in the event and have your packet mailed, log into the portal, click Settings, Account, and select the packet by mail option. As I mentioned, rider numbers and registration will be set. To be number one on the road and first in fundraising on the 16th, you need to have, it'll be calculated by where you are this Wednesday. We have less than 25 spots remaining. We encourage you to push yourself and get over that $1,500 goal and become a part of our special Yellow Jersey Club. Next is make sure that you're selecting the starting time that you prefer, and make sure that so that we can ensure that you are grouped with family and friends at the starting line. We have to break the starting line into smaller time windows to ensure that we're not having any gatherings and to ensure the flow for our medical personnel throughout the morning. Each rider will be given a unique window and scheduled time to start. This will ensure that no large gatherings happen. And again, this preference must be selected by Wednesday the 16th to ensure that you get your first choice. A few items about the event. As I mentioned, we are only doing that contactless packet pickup through the mail, so there will be no official packet pickup this year. Every individual in the event will receive a reusable face mask in their packet. We encourage you to use that on ride day or wear a mask that you are comfortable with and confident that you can wear throughout the day. We will also be handing out individual hand sanitizers to every participant at the event so that they can disinfect both as they get off and on their bike at each location. Support this year will look similar to other years, but of course have certain limitations. We will still have rest stops and ride marshals. We will have chase cars out on the road supporting you. We will have limited mechanics and limit the ways that they can support you throughout the event. So please make sure that you have your bike checked in advance. As we have the scheduled start, we'll have a rider spread out across a wider geographic spread, meaning that our response times may be a little bit slower. And other years where we can typically fix mid-complexity issues like wheels and brakes, this year we're only going to be changing minor issues such as flat tires that can minimize the duration of interaction during those issues. Similar to other years, we will have first aid at each of the rest stops, and we do have our own medical team throughout the event, helping both to ensure that everybody is working within the COVID-19 precautions, but also there for any consultations that you need. In the case of any emergency, always dial 911 first. For any small consultation, feel free to take advantage of our medical staff positioned throughout the event. Police this year, we will not be able to have police escorts along the route because riders will be leaving at different times and not doing any large group starts. We will have a few awareness vehicles placed throughout the event, but again, police support will be limited at this year's event. The ride day schedule, the 100-mile will leave from Manhattan between 4:30 and 5:30, depending on when you are scheduled to start. The 50-mile will leave between 9:30 and 10:30, depending on your scheduled start. The finish line will open at 11:30. The 25-mile ride will begin between 12 and 12:30, and the finish line will close at 4:30 p.m. and bike racks will be removed. As I mentioned, we will go through a few specific precautions now. When you arrive at the starting line, it will be scheduled similar to a doctor's office where you'll have your scheduled window to get there. We'll take everybody's temperature, and before you arrive, the day before, we will mail out a COVID-19 symptoms checklist and waiver. You'll need to have filled out that waiver and have the receipt on your phone for you to be entered into the starting line area or any of our rest stops. After you've had your temperature checked and you've confirmed that you filled out the waiver, you'll be given a blue wristband, which will give you access to our different locations throughout the day. Supporters and individuals that do not have a blue wristband will be limited and not be allowed at many of our locations. The starting line will also be a rolling start. So after you check in for that scheduled time, please depart as quickly as possible. We will have some snacks and waters available at the start, but we encourage everybody to check in and then get on the roadway. Again, to minimize that group gathering throughout the morning. The 100-mile starting line will be in Manhattan. We are working with a few different venues to see which one can work in the best and most current safety protocols. We will announce that in the coming days. Check-in will be quick and scheduled. Packets will not be available for pickup at the start line. As I mentioned, if you are opting into the event, it will be mailed to you, so you cannot pick up your packet at the starting line this year. Bathrooms, we highly encourage you to use bathrooms before the event. It is likely that we will not have bathrooms at the starting line, since most individuals will be coming from their own personal accommodations where they can go to bathrooms when they wake up, so that as they're at the starting line, they can check in and go and not have to worry about a group gathering sterilization of those bathrooms. We will have a bag drop as usual, so if you do have a bag you would like us to take to the finish line for you, we are happy to do that. And we will have bike pumps at the starting line to inflate those tires if you need to do so. We will not have larger mechanic services at the starting line though. The 50-mile start line will have similar accommodations, and it'll be at the World Gym Wantagh in Wantagh, New York. And again, it's scheduled between 9:30 to 10 and 10 to 10:30. Similarly, we'll have a bag drop there for those that need it. Our 25-mile start line will be at Quarry Creek Park, and that will be between 12 and 12:30, again, as a check-in and rolling start. At every rest stop, we will have additional personal hand sanitizers, and all food will be single-serve bottles and single-serve food. All volunteers will also be provided with face masks, gloves, and sanitizing equipment. We'll also have grab-and-go options available for those of you that would like to be able to grab a quick snack without getting off of your bike. Those rest stops, we will have 6 rest stops and water stations, one in the Rockaway, Queens, one in Woodmere, one in Wantagh, West Islip, Blue Point, and Brookhaven. As I mentioned earlier, friends and supporters will be limited at many locations throughout the day. They will need to both have passed a safety screening beforehand in order to have access to many of those sites. And we will limit the number of supporters that any individual can have at some of our sites. If they would like to be more engaged in the day, please have them go online and sign up as volunteers. At the finish line, we will have limited finish line items compared to other years. All of your finish line packets, rider awards, so t-shirts and sunglasses that are earned, will be pre-packaged. It'll be quick as riders come in, they'll get a quick snack, their rider awards, and then they can go into the restaurant or beach area in the surrounding geography. That should be a quick socially distanced finish line. For the finish line right now, we are exploring two finish lines, one in West Hampton and one in Smith Point. Both will have restaurant offerings if you'd like to sit down with groups of family and friends that are outside of the event structure, and they'll have beach areas that you can go and enjoy and picnic at. We're finalizing those details and amenities offerings to ensure the safety and most enjoyable experience for all participants, volunteers, and surrounding communities. Both options will achieve the mileage goals of the 150 and 25-mile rides. Again, the most important thing for you to do this week is make sure that you take care of those items that need to be done by this Wednesday, the 16th, primarily opting into the event, selecting your starting time, and selecting to have your packet mailed. A few things that you can still do to help: make sure that if you do have individuals that you think would be interested in volunteering or that do want to be on sites throughout the day, more volunteers this year will definitely help the event run smoother, as we do require more volunteers than ever to help with some of our current safety protocols. Please be responsive and be informed. We are going to be releasing a lot of data over the next couple of days. Make sure that you're reading through all of those items and make sure that you're taking care of all the things that you need to do before ride day to be safe and prepared. And finally, only you can keep the event safe. That means it's important for each of us to be responsible, wearing masks, hand sanitizing, and limiting interactions in the days leading up to the event. Finally, we've gotten some people that have reached out with concerns about fundraising. All that we always ask is for your best effort. We do know that the pandemic has had a major economic impact. We also know that the fundraising you do this year matters more than ever to our local partners. So what we ask is to set a goal, strive to accomplish it. Know that we value you as being a part of our member of our community, and understand that this is a unique year. Please make your best effort, send out those emails, make a few posts, and do whatever you think is possible. If you do run into issues, let us know. We do have ways that you can have your fundraising minimum waived. Over the next few weeks, we are moving forward with the mindset that CDC and government recommendations will remain constant, and we are working with all jurisdictions that we pass through diligently to ensure a safe event for all of our participants. We do look forward to riding with you all. Please make sure that you take care of all of those items before this Wednesday, the 16th, and we will be coming out with more details on the finish line, start line, and some of the tighter details of the day. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. We look forward to your participation in the event. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your trust.